Live now. Is this go live? I'm clicking go live. Am I live? I can see myself looking, wondering if I'm alive. Am I live? Hello, Monica. Hello, Barbara. Nice to have you here. 11 of you are already tuned in, and I can't wait to sketch with you. It is the 18th of December, so it's day 18 of the 10-minute portrait challenge, and have another great reference to sketch from today. Thank you to everyone who came yesterday. We did 10-minute portraits, over 100 minutes of sketching, and it was super fun. Thank you so much, Monica, for letting me know that I'm live, because not every time that I have done a live stream this month have I actually gone live, and there's this funny lag thing, and I never really know what's going on. So this is not my best camera because I've got it facing my workspace, so let's go over here. And yesterday we sketched all of these mugshots from the 1920s, and this chap over on the side, whoops, that's me, here we go, George Howard, is the police officer who was the photographer of all of these that we sketched from yesterday. So if you were, it was so good yesterday, wasn't it, Barbara? It was so much fun. Everyone who's here watching, 11 of you, I'd like you to hit the thumbs up, and I'd like you to tell me if you were here yesterday as well, and if you did the mugshot sketches with us, because there was so much fun, such incredible photos. And today we're going to be sketching the photographer, the constable behind the camera. And it was really interesting. I found on the website from the Underworld exhibition that there was also a page where they were talking about George Howard, who was the photographer who took all these awesome shots. All the ones that we did yesterday. And I have not yet decided what medium I'm going to use today. What are you using? Terry Burt, hello. What am I going to... Should I do water-soluble graphite like I did yesterday? That would kind of be fitting to sketch. Oh, if I find my pencil, what's going on? Just putting my kids to bed and come up just in time to start this live stream. Where's this water-soluble graphite? What did I do with it yesterday? Maybe I'll use something different today. All right, I'll do a calligraphy pen portrait today, which is interesting. This is not what I was thinking I would do, but this is what I'm going to do. So I love these calligraphy pens. Water-soluble pencil. Yeah, I wish I had mine. I thought it would be so fitting. Ah, here we go. I do have it. It's just on the floor. It's a good place to put it. All right, I'll do it in water-soluble pencil. So it's fitting with the ones from yesterday, and it is 8:33, and I'm about to start sketching. 10-minute portrait, number 18, but we did 10 yesterday. Let's do it. 10 minutes. And I'd love you all to say hello in the chat, and I'll just get to sketching now. Yeah, so it's really interesting, this website, this exhibition, all of these mugshots from the 1920s, and this, I just read a little bit of the background story. Apparently not a lot is known about this this police officer, George Howard, but he did like 2,500 of these mugshots apparently, and as we saw yesterday, they were incredible, artistic, creative compositions, and so beautiful. And apparently the double exposure, so each one of those negatives that we saw yesterday, where it had the portrait and it had a full postural pose, a full figure, apparently that was a double exposure, and that was his idea, to combine the portrait and the gestural figurative image on the one negative, and they're just so beautiful. What a cool idea. And of course he was into identifying lawbreakers. So Something interesting I also caught a glimpse of as I was looking into it today. The thing in the 1920s was that after the First World War, apparently a lot of the um, there was this kind of lawlessness in the 1920s because after the First World War, a lot of the like police had been soldiers, and there was like less I guess the kind of people who would be police. There was less of them available to be police, and apparently this was the narrative that was being told on this website. And so there was a really like vibrant, flourishing crime scene in Sydney in the 20s, which also led to a beautifully artistic culture of taking mugshot photos. So it's so interesting to think that as what was going on 100 years ago, and interesting to think of it as like this period of lawlessness, and it was like a kind of after effect of World War One, and yeah, interesting. He's too good looking. Yeah, I know what you mean. There's nothing. We've had this discussion before. Right? There's nothing to draw. He's too good looking. It's just this flawlessness. So just gotta kind of go for it. Start drawing a shape, and it's just like there's no details. It's not. It's interesting because it has such a different quality. It's not a self-portrait. All the ones we were sketching yesterday. That was Barbara who just said he's too good looking. The ones we did yesterday, they were wrinkly, they were tired looking, like there was so much character to it. And this has this strange kind of flawlessness, which makes it really much more challenging to draw, I guess, because there's less to hold on to as we navigate our way around. This is a cool looking 555. Yesterday's live stream was so much fun. So many amazing photos, and the conversation in Zoom was really nice and really funny. Kind of wondering about these characters that we were sketching yesterday. Hi Fred, hello. Paul from Montreal, awesome. Louis, hello. Ikuden, yeah. Oh, yesterday was so much fun. It was like a combination of all of you hanging out, sketching here together, and incredible reference photos, and it felt good. Felt good to be drawing together. So for anyone who joined late, this is George Howard is the photographer. Oh, I'm a bit skewed over here. George Howard is the photographer who took the mugshots that we were sketching from yesterday. And anyone who didn't catch that, you can have a look at the replay on my channel. We did a 2-hour, or maybe just over 2-hour session where we were sketching mugshots from the 1920s. And George Orwell was... not George Orwell, George Howard was the police officer who was the photographer, who apparently, as a child, also had an interest in photography. And he was, I don't know, in some like, sounds like he was out of town. He was stationed somewhere else, and then he was like brought in to Sydney to get on this photography beat and of identifying, photographing suspects and crime scenes and all sorts of stuff. So pretty interesting. Sounds like he had like a pretty chilled outback or small town station commission, and then he was brought in to the Big Smoke, where all of this exciting stuff was happening in the 1920s. I have loved seeing everyone's sketches from yesterday's live stream. It was such a buzz. I had so much fun drawing them, and then seeing all of the work that people were doing was like, oh, so cool. Like just seeing it all come together and everyone sharing their sketches is so great. So I'd love you to do the same today. Be sure to tag me on Instagram. I'm Dylan_Sara, and you can use the hashtag drawingwithdylan and 10-minute portrait. And of course, post wherever else you like posting things. And if you don't want to post anything, that's fine too. This Thursday, have a special event, Drawn Together episode, and we're going to be doing, Shannon and myself will be sketching my amazing sister, Claire Sara, and it's going to be like a long pose, which will be a nice kind of contrast to these. Oh, we've got like a minute left. Nice contrast to these 10-minute portraits. I often like to get started the same way with like a really loose sketch, but then really takes some time, gets really expansive and can do rendering and really get into it and get into a really interesting conversation. So the Drawn Together show, which is a new blossoming wonderful thing that I'm doing together with Shannon, is super enjoyable. I didn't put the lid on my brush pen, so it's dry. I've got to push some water into it. And I'll use the last minute to just add some water to this, make it look like a painting. The Drawn Together show, it's going to be really cool. So it's going to be 9. We will do a 10-minute portrait on Thursday at 8:30, and we'll have a little break. And then at 9, we will be doing Drawn Together episode 4 with Claire. That'll be really cool. So I'd love you all to join that as well. It was really cool doing this water-soluble graphite yesterday, doing 10 portraits, and I really felt like I, towards, like at some point, like it was a bit of exploration in the beginning, like, oh, what's the best way to go about doing these? And then I kind of found my stride with them, and so it was like exploring in the beginning, and towards the end of it, I felt pretty good about some of the sketches that was churning out. And yeah, just as I said a couple minutes ago, it was so cool seeing your sketches as well. So much amazing work you're all doing, and it's so nice to be doing this together. And I'm sure, I haven't looked at the clock since it was at the 9-minute mark, so I'm sure we've gone a little overtime with this one, but some of you joined late, so it's nice to go over time. But we're nearly done, and I can't believe we're like so far into December already, and I've totally been loving doing these 10-minute portraits with all of you. And if you're here for the first time, or you joined the challenge late, you can also watch the recordings of all the other sketches that we've done. A lot of really awesome reference, a lot of really fun faces to draw and interesting characters. So now there are quite a few sketches that we can that you can binge watch and catch up on if you like. And this is about it for George Howard, our talented police photographer from Sydney in the 1920s. How's it going, Barbara? Hi, Gabriella. Welcome. You're late. We're nearly done, but you can watch the replay in a moment. So, Barbara, you said this guy was too perfect, too good looking, hard to draw. How's it going? Did you manage to find a way? It's just like, it's an interesting kind of big long shape here. Like I've definitely changed the shape of his head, but I also had that strong sense that there's less to hold on to as we're drawing. Like not so much wrinkles. He's so young and like perfect, and it's like a soft exposure or something. But you can just kind of make a make a shape and go along with it, and that kind of all works out. So went a little bit over time with this one, but slowly, it's going slowly. That's okay. You can spend a little bit more time if you like. So I as I mentioned before, I really like working with constraints. Time restraints especially has pushed me and taught me so much. And I also think it's good to start and be like, okay, I'm only going to do 10 minutes. And then as you start with it and you've got this kind of drive to get going and do a quick portrait, and then at some point if you're like, oh, they could actually do with a bit more time, then give it what it needs. And so over time on this one, but we spent 100 minutes drawing his subjects yesterday. Something's a little bit wonky with my eyes on that one, but it's okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Hard to catch a likeness. Yeah, it is hard to catch a likeness when there's so little to catch. But yeah, I've stretched him out a whole lot. He's got like a really it's interesting. Whenever I look up the screen, I perceive it differently than when I'm looking on my desk, and so I can see all these like things. But it's interesting. It's like it's taken on a different character, and you can call inaccuracy stylization perhaps. But it was fun. So thank you so much. History lesson as well as an art lesson. I know, isn't it interesting? I was wondering, that was part of why I was buzzing, with yesterday's session. I was like, wow, this was so cool. It was this time traveling thing where we were sketching all these different faces from another time. I would just, I'll show you some of, in case you didn't see yesterday's live stream. I'll get rid of George here and see if I can just flip through some of the other references. Oh, that's a bit weird, but yeah, here we go. So these are the references we worked from yesterday, and this idea of time traveling, wondering about these people from 100 years in the past, and I was like, wow, so interesting. That was we've done different things now, working from David Callinan's photos. It's people from Boston and New York, from present day. That was super interesting. And we've done live streams where we sketch people that I know or we know, and that's been really cool too. Because we know each other and then we're seeing each other's faces, drawing each other. It was really cool. It was a fun way to do it. But I was thinking this kind of historical photography, it could be potentially really interesting to do sessions where we spend 2 hours doing sketches from who knows what, from different places in the world, different eras. Could be interesting combining that sketching and history lesson. So, we're always learning things. It's super interesting. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Thank you, George Howard, for your incredible, prolific work, taking 2,500 artistic mugshots in the 1920s. And he surely didn't know that internationally he'd be sketched 100 years into the future by a bunch of people. So thank you all for sketching along. Be sure to use the hashtags drawingwithdylan and 10-minute portrait when you're sharing online, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and give me some likes and comments. Comments are always good. You can also come back to these videos if you're watching them after the fact, and you can leave comments and say how you enjoyed it and stuff. All of the comments, all of the chat, all of the interaction is all good for my channel, and it puts it out to other people potentially, so that more people can join the fun. And Saskia, yes, it was so much fun yesterday, and your work was amazing. It was so cool to see. I was so glad that you joined us yesterday. Thanks, everyone, and see you here again tomorrow. I have some more interesting faces in store for us for the rest of the month. It's going to be great. So see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening, wonderful afternoon, morning, whatever it is, and see you tomorrow. Thanks so much for joining in.